In the north, the Ukrainian army prepares for an attack on the Russian territory. Today the president of Ukraine has ordered the Ukrainian troops to cross the border with Russia and attack the towns and cities that stand in their way. The attacks are targeting the Bryansk, Kursk and Belgorod regions. The Belgorod region is under threat in particular. The Ukrainian army has gathered a substantial amount of forces in the northeastern part of the Sumy region and also in the northern part of the Kharkov region that is not currently occupied by the Russians. One mechanized battalion, which is around 800 troops, is positioned near the town Tyatkino in the Kursk region. One mechanized battalion is targeting the city Sudza. One mechanized brigade, which is around 6000 troops, is located near the town Krasnaya Yaruga and Rakitnoye. One infantry battalion is positioned in front of the town Graverin, and one brigade is targeting the town Kazakolopan, which is on the Ukrainian territory, but is currently occupied by the Russians. All of this suggests that the fights will take place on the Russian soil. Obviously, the Russians also know about the concentration of the Ukrainian forces near the border and prepare to meet them and counteract their attacks. However, as these forces are not engaging in active fight and are free to move, things can change very rapidly. The Russians are at the same disadvantage here as the Ukrainians were at the beginning of the war, because when the front line is too long to be fully controlled, the attacking party has an advantage, as it chooses the time and place, and the defending party must constantly monitor and adjust to the unfolding situation. When there are so many units engaged, the possibilities are unlimited, and to understand in the short run what exactly the enemy is doing is virtually impossible. One of the things the Ukrainian army can do is provoke the Russians, for example, by attacking the town Graverin from the air, cause the Russians to concentrate on this direction, move their forces in order to prevent the invasion that usually comes after the airstrike, and then order the mechanized battalion to invade Russia near the town Sudza. This is a simplistic example that is unlikely to work very well, because no one will move all of their forces along the front line to one spot the moment there is an attack somewhere. The Russians are also well aware that there will be provocations and that the Ukrainians will try to catch them off guard. To extend this example for demonstration of a more sophisticated strategy, the Ukrainians can move 2 of the 3 mechanized battalions from the brigade near the town Krasnaya Yaruga to join the infantry battalion targeting the town Graverin, then heavily engage the artillery, followed by light engagement of the forces, and make their next step, judging by the response of the Russians. If the Russians pull some of their forces from the northern parts to the southern, then the next step would be to disengage in the south and engage in the north. The Russians obviously not only monitor the location of the Ukrainian forces, but also the concentration of their forces. Therefore, they will try to mirror how many troops they have in respective regions along the border and will try to adapt to the changes. However, adaptation to the changes has some error and latency, which can be easily exploited when conducting swift attacks. Apart from the concentration of the enemy forces along the border, the Russians also closely monitor the changes in concentration of the enemy forces. If the mechanized brigade sends 5,000 troops to the south, it means that for some reasons they value this direction less and might have put more emphasis on another location. This may cause the Russians to move some of their forces to the south as well, when suddenly they can be attacked in the north.